All right. So let me make sure I got this right. You have this perfect plan in your head of exactly what you want to say and how you want to say it. It's awesome. And now you get ready to click the go live button. So you click the button. Where does it all go? It's all just gone. All the words just come out all jumbled and mumbled and like your tongue's tied and your brain's not working and you're like, what is going on? Why is this doing this to me? Am I right? So very frustrating. So what the heck do we do about it? That is what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn why it's happening, and you're going to learn 5 ways to start to get control of it. All right. So if you and I have not yet met, my name is Jamie Hain, and I am a Get on Camera video coach. And I will tell you, this is me. This happens to me. I know you don't believe me because you're sitting there thinking, I've seen you on video. You're not tongue-tied. It's because I've learned all of the things that I'm about to share with you. Okay. So being tongue-tied and the words not matching what you imagine in your head, it's a real thing. It really does happen. So let's first talk about what's going on. So what's happening is you're nervous. Okay. And I know what you're thinking. You might be like, no, I'm not nervous. Okay. We're going to come back to that. But just for a second, believe me when I say there's a chemical reaction going on in your brain. Something about hitting that go live button is like a trigger. It's like you push the button and now your brain is flooded with these chemicals. Something about that scares you, makes you nervous, makes you uncomfortable, makes you worried, makes you whatever. So first step, before we even get into all of that, is figure out what that is. That's some mindset work you got to dig deep on. If you need help, let me know. I'm happy to help you, right? But what is going on in that brain in that second that you hit the go live button that makes you feel whatever it is that you're feeling? Okay? That's number 1. That chemical flood of all of that into your brain, it's almost like your brain goes, oh my gosh, she clicked go live. She clicked the button. Ah! Divert all power, like divert auxiliary power to survival from the scary thing. Okay. That's what's going on in your brain. Whether you recognize it or not, that's what's happening. So your brain is just not functioning at 100%. And that is why it doesn't come out like you think it's going to come out. Because your brain, it's like a shift that has happened in your brain. And your brain says, no, all of our power needs to go to survival from the scary event and not into actually saying and being articulate and getting the words out right. That's a mind mess, isn't it? All right. So what happens is you can't rely on your brain in that moment. That's what's happening. Your brain's flooded with these chemicals. It's not 100%. Therefore, you can't rely on it. So everything that you've done to prepare for this event is out the window because your brain's not working right. Okay. I see. Yes. Live. Yes. All right. You guys are getting it. All right. Let me tell you a story. Because if you're sitting there and you're saying to me, or maybe you're saying it to yourself, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. She's wrong. Okay. I'm going to tell you a story. First of all, I'm going to commend you because good for you saying that you're not nervous. Like that's the first step. Don't admit that you're nervous because the chemical reaction that happens in our brain, whether we are nervous or excited, very similar. So don't tell yourself you're nervous. Tell yourself you're excited. Tell yourself that this means something and watch that doesn't help just a little bit. Okay. So I told you at the beginning of this that I get nervous, and I know you probably don't believe me, but it's true. I get nervous, but I just have spent a lot of time, many, many years dealing with my nerves. And I have all of the tricks in my little tool bag, and I know what to do and what to pull out and how to get it handled. Okay. Now, going back to my corporate life, at one point or another, I thought, I got these nerves handled, done, no issue. And then I got promoted, which is great. I got promoted. And for the first time ever, I had to go into the boardroom on a regular basis with all the C-suite. Those of you that are not from corporate, this is where all the executives are. And you got to give updates. And it's not a pleasant experience. Okay. So I'm all prepped. I'm ready to go. And before you actually go into the boardroom, you sit in a green room and it's like you wait your turn, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what did I eat for lunch? Something's not going down right. Do I have food poisoning? Like I don't need food poisoning right now. I'm about to go in and present. I don't have time for food poisoning, but you know, it is what it is. Just please, you know, please don't let anything bad happen and let me embarrass myself. So into the boardroom I go. It's not quite my time. Now I take a seat. And as I'm sitting there, I feel my legs doing this. My knees are bouncing up and down, right? And my hands, and that's when it hits me. I'm nervous. That's what's going on. That's why I'm feeling this way. So if it can happen to me after years and years of practice, it can happen to you. Okay. So don't doubt that you might be having this chemical reaction. Okay. Now, what the heck do we do about it? The best thing that I can tell you before I even get into these 5 things is make that event less scary. Okay. What's happening is the minute you push that go live button, it's a trigger. It's like you are hitting the button and triggering something in your brain. Oh my gosh, this is scary. Okay. Robin says, it's not a grizzly bear. It's just saying my name. Yes. Okay. Same thing. So your brain is like this, doing this video. This is the video is scary. It's scary. That might not be the right word. You got to figure out what the right word is. Okay. Make that be less scary. How do you do that? You're doing it. You're in this group. Many of you are in the Go Live League. You are going after it. You are learning models. You are learning tools. The more you learn, the more you build competence, the more comfortable and confident you're going to be. Okay. Now, 5 things you can do. Number 1, you can plan your live. Specifically, I'm talking about using notes. I do it. I still do it to this day, whether it's paper or whether it's digital. I plan out what I'm going to talk about because I know that if I don't plan it out, my brain isn't going to work right. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be a jumbled mess. So I plan it out. Okay. You can't rely on your brain to think in this moment. So you need tools, external tools, so that you don't have to think. You just have to look at your notes. Okay. So you're going to have to plan. Now, everyone hates notes. I don't know why this is, but I hear this all the time from people who are like, I don't want to use notes. I don't want to do it. Now, part of that is probably because you don't want to script it. I agree. It's a horrible idea. But maybe it's because you just don't either know how to do notes or how to use your notes or how to talk to your notes while still making eye contact. Any and all of that could be absolutely going on. Okay. We are about to do the next version of the Go Live Challenge, which happens the week of October 23rd. If you're not registered and you want to be, the link is up above. You're going to learn how to do some of these things. You're going to learn a little bit of a process. You're going to learn how to make eye contact, and we will definitely tackle how do you handle your notes in one of the Zoom calls. Okay. So know that that's coming. Towards the end of this month, actually on the 31st, happy Halloween, everybody. We're going to do a training session like this on how to go live spontaneously. What I would encourage all of you to do is for the next 3 weeks, practice using notes. Don't even try to do spontaneous if you don't even have the notes handled. Okay. But that may be helpful for you. Maybe it's a stopgap. Maybe it'll get you somewhere. But even when I talk about how do you go live spontaneous with no planning, you're still going to plan something. I'm just going to keep it super simple. Super simple. Okay. Everybody's looking forward to it. I don't know if that is the challenge or the training on the 31st, but me too. I'm excited too. Okay. So Angela says, plan your work your plan. That's me until I get distracted with thought. We're going to talk about that, Angela. I promise. It's number 5 on the list. Okay. All right. So number 1, plan. Plan. Number 2, memorize the first minute or 2. Why do you suppose that would be important? Why would I tell you to memorize the first minute or 2? Why would that be an important part of how you can conquer these nerves? Why would memorizing it help? I'll just wait until we get some answers in because there's always a delay. It's okay. I can wait. See, this is when I need music. More excitement about the challenge and the events. Me too. Listen, I'm excited too. Nobody knows why it would be important to memorize. All right, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you. So you don't have to think. So Angela, I promise we're going to go deeper into the distracted by my thoughts. But the point here is if you memorize the first minute, and I mean memorize it to the point where it doesn't matter if your brain has gone on vacation, you can say the first minute. Yes. Robin says it gives your time for your brain to realize it's not a bear. It gives you time to calm down. Okay. If this is really going to be good for those of you that are like, it's really bad in the beginning, and then I kind of get into it and then I'm in my groove and I'm okay. This is going to be really helpful. Okay. So if you know that your brain just takes a little, what is the word? Sabbatical in the first minute or two of your live every single time, memorize the first minute or two so you don't have to think. It's just automatic. You just recite it. Then you don't have to rely on this brain that's going all blah, 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 because of all the chemicals. And it gives you time to kind of ease into it. And you're going to be, it kind of allows those nerves, if you will, to settle down and you can kind of get into your groove. And then you go to your notes. So even if you're going to use notes, still memorize the first few things that you're going to cover. Okay. All right. That was number 2. So number 1, plan it. Number 2, and that was specifically about notes. Number 2, memorize. Memorize the first minute. Some of you might need to memorize the first 2 minutes. Your call. Okay. Number 3, don't forget to breathe. Breathe. You would be so surprised at how much that's going to help here with these nerves. Okay. And there are some other techniques that work. So if breathing doesn't work, you might have to shake it off. You might have to get a stress ball. Whatever it is you've got to get rid of all those chemicals that are coursing through your body. Okay. So what happens is we go, okay, I'm going to go live. Oh, I got to go live. I got to get all this done. I got to get my notes out. And you're hurrying to get all your notes put together, which, by the way, plan it in advance. Don't do it 5 minutes before you go live. And now you're like, okay, now I got to get it set up. I got to put my title in. I got to put my text in. I got to make sure my camera's right. I got to make sure my lighting's right. And we got all of these things going on. And all of that creates this environment of, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. So that act is actually creating the chemical reaction that makes you go blah, 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 when you start talking. Okay. So get all of that done. Plan in advance. Get it all set up. Get your text and your descriptions and get everything ready. And instead of just hurrying to hit the button, do it far enough in advance that you can take a minute before you hit that button to just breathe, to just sit there and calm yourself down. Take some deep breath, like yoga breaths, right? In through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathing, okay? If the breathing doesn't help you, shake off that adrenaline, those chemicals, right? Get a stress ball. Try to do it off camera if you need to, but get it out. Okay, if you ever look at professional athletes, especially like at the Olympics, and you like, I think about it, I see it a lot of times with swimmers and with gymnasts. Before they get into the pool, before they take the mat, you see them off and they're shaking their body, right? They're getting rid of that adrenaline. They're amped up, they're pumped up, they're excited, they're ready to do their show. But you got to have that minute of, okay. Now, another thing that can help in here with nerves, as it relates to some breathing and calming techniques, is essential oils. You would be surprised at how effective they can be. In fact, Cindy Vallone is going to go live this Friday, and on the Beyond the Camera guest expert, she's going to talk about essential oils. So if that's something you want to learn more about, tune in. Okay, the link to that event is also up above. Okay, the other thing that I will talk about, I'm just going to do a little tangent here at this point. There is a whole module as part of the Go Live Challenge pre-work on managing your nerves. Even if you've done it in the past, do it again. It's already out there and available. You don't even have to wait for the challenge. I put the link to it up above. It is 10 minutes with a workbook. I think the link up above is the workbook. And then inside that post with the workbook is the link to the video. It'll take you 10 minutes. Practice all of the things that I talk about in that session. You'll be amazed at how much it's going to help. Okay. So you got links to all of the things that I'm talking about up above this video. All right. That was number 3. Number 4. Boy, if you don't hate me already, you're going to hate me now. You need to practice. You need to practice what you're going to talk about before you talk about it. You might need to practice multiple times before you actually do it. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, I don't have time. I don't even have time to go live. You're going to have to make time. Because not making time and not practicing, how's that working? What if you did put a little bit of time into it? How much more effective would your lives be? Hard truth. I know. I'm sorry. Think about a professional athlete, whether it's a golfer or a basketball player, a football player, any of them. They are the best of the best, right? In their sport. They spend more time practicing than actually playing the game. There's a reason for that, right? They're developing skill. You need to develop skill as well. Not just about applying the things that you're learning from me, but actually practicing talking about the thing that you want to talk about. Okay. Now, the question I get all the time is, well, how much practice do I have to do? And how long do I have to practice? Like, when will I never have to practice again? I still practice. I practice this. What I will tell you is that I practice less than I used to when I first started. And you'll get there as well. Now, how do you practice? Or what's the like the rule that I give everybody in terms of practice? Your objective is to have it be smooth. So the example I often give is ducks, right? Ducks in a lake or pond or whatever they're in, right? They just glide, right? They glide so smoothly, but underneath those little feet are going, right? The same thing can happen with you. You got to just make it smooth. So what you want to look for is, where are the rough patches in your delivery of what you're covering? Practice those, right? So think about, I'm going to use basketball because it's the first one that came to mind. Think about basketball players, right? Why do they practice free throws? Because they're not doing it all the time. They're not doing it every single day, all the time, every single game. They got to practice those rough spots. Why are they practicing the things that they're not good at? To make them stronger, to get them better. Same thing. So if you're going through your video and you're like, well, this is all good until I get to that call to action. Oh, and then it's just, where did my brain go? Practice that. Right? If you're just struggling in the beginning because you get into your groove as you get going, just practice your opening. Practice it until it's smooth. The other thing that I want to say here is, when you are practicing, you're not practicing in your ear. You actually have to say it out loud. In fact, what I coach my clients is, actually practice it in real time. Like, if I'm going to be sitting here and here's where my laptop's going to be and here's where my camera is and here's where my notes are, practice it with all of those things in place. Why? Why would I say that? Why would you think that would be important? Why would it be important to practice in the real space, in the real time, with all of the things that you're going to use as tools? Why would that be important? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for answers. Those of you that are watching on replay, you participate with me here as well. I'll come in and see what you say. This delay is always a stinker, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind waiting. I'm comfortable with silence. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you because you may all be stuck. It creates, oh, there we go. So Robin says, so you know where and when to look. Yes. It is about creating muscle memory. Okay. It is one thing if I just practice in my head over and over in a loop about what I'm going to say. Or I'm in the car, I've got a car ride, I got to drive to a doctor's appointment. So I practice in the car, and maybe I'm talking out loud in the car, but I'm in my car. I'm not in the environment where my notes are, where the camera is. I'm not practicing all of the parts and pieces. So practice in the real space, right? Think about it like this. I know the basketball analogy is probably getting old here, but these professional basketball players, I'm going to sneeze. Nope, I got it. Yep, I'm gonna. Don't you hate that? Okay. They don't, they probably visualize for sure, game day, plays, whatever else, but it's not enough. They also have to practice. They even warm up and practice prior to the game. So it's muscle memory, so that you don't have to think. Your body and your brain just go. Your mouth just goes without having to overthink it. Okay. Okay. The last tip I'm going to give you on practice: don't practice right before your live. I like to give myself an hour. Okay. The reason that is so important is because if you practice right up until you're live, now you're live and you can't remember whether you've said something already or not, because I just said it, but maybe that was in practice. Have I talked about this already? And you get in this confused state. If you separate the practice from the live event, you'll be good. Okay. Anybody got questions, by the way, before we get into number 5? If you got questions, drop them. I'm hoping that you're just loving this so much you're fast and furiously taking notes. But please ask questions if you got them. All right. So that was number 4. Number 5. Here you go, Angela. This one's for you. Stop thinking while you're talking. Stop thinking while you're talking. How many of you are introverts? Introverts, I'm an introvert. I'm a big fan of introverts. I love being an introvert. I think we have a definite superpower in being an introvert. But this is what gets us into trouble because we are so used to thinking and processing internally. It's hard to shut it off and stop it. Okay. What is happening is you're talking about whatever it is you're talking about, but then that beautiful, brilliant, wonderful introvert brain is thinking about what's next and what are you going to talk about next and then where are you going to go next. And what happens is that's what gets you tongue tied because you're talking about one thing, but your brain is thinking about something else. And then it just kind of mushes them all together. Because remember, we've already talked about your brain's not cooperating right now. Okay. So you really have to focus on being 100% present in that moment. However long that live is, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, you got to be so present and you've just got to, it's almost like you got to put blinders on your brain and be like, brain, we're not thinking about anything else other than what we're talking about right now. Now, what will help with that is all of the things we've already talked about. Okay? If you have notes, then you won't be thinking because you have notes. If you've got it memorized, you won't be thinking because you have it memorized, right? If you've calmed yourself down, you're in control now. If you've practiced, you won't be thinking. So all of these things kind of work together to create this wonderful, awesome, I don't even know what to call it, thing. When all else fails, call it a thing. Okay. Robin says, just like learning to drive. Mirror, mirror, speedometer, mirror. Yes. Right? The example, of course, Robin will bring a car analogy in. I love it. I think about it like this. When you have to brush your teeth, you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to consciously think, okay, I got a right foot, left foot into the bathroom. Okay, then where is the light switch? And where's the toothpaste? And what tools do I need? Do I need to get my toothbrush out? And what else do I need? Oh yeah, I got to get my flossers out. Okay, now what is this process again that I got to do with my toothbrush? Okay, is it water first or toothpaste first? Which is the right order? And then how long? You're not thinking about that. You just do it. Why? Because you've done it 1,000 times, 2,000 times, 3,000 times, 4,000 times. I don't even know how many times, right? You're on autopilot. You can be on autopilot with video too, but it takes doing it and practicing it and getting feedback and giving yourself feedback and getting better at it. That's the process. It's the process for anything that you were learning new. The other day I was talking about a video that I watched with Ed Sheeran, who I love. And Ed was talking about how he gets sick and tired of everybody saying, you're just so talented. You were just born with talent. No, he sucked. He's played video. I've heard it. You can hear it too. He was horrible when he was a kid. It sounded dreadful, like squealing and squeaking. I mean, it was just awful. He practiced, he learned, he got better. It became the priority. Same way you learn about Michael Jordan, who's one of the most famous basketball players ever. Tom Brady is the GOAT in football. I know I'm going all this sports thing. I don't even know where that comes from, but they practice. They are relentless about their craft. Am I suggesting that you need to go all in like that with video? No, but you could probably do a little more than you are. All right, let's see if there are any questions. Okay, let me do a quick review. I think I've already did a review, but I'm going to do one more for you. There are 5 things you can do. What's causing this reaction is you're nervous and you're scared of going live. Figure that out. What's scary about it? Let's dig into that. What you can do about it is recognize that you've got a plan, maybe memorize. You got to take some breaths and calm those nerves down right before you get started. Whether it's breaths or some tapping or essential oils or whatever it is, you got to calm yourself down. Then you got to practice. And then you've got to stop thinking and you've got to just be present. You have to trust that you've done all of these right things before you've gone live, and you just trust in your talent, trust in your skill, trust in your preparation. Okay, so what I want to know from you, I still aren't seeing any questions. Still aren't seeing any questions there. I just got tongue-tied. It's okay. I probably need to take a little breath. All right. My call to action for all of you is, which one of these are you going to do? Start with one. Get good at that one. See how it works for you. Then add in another one. Don't try to do all 5 at once. You're gonna, your brain's gonna go, ouch, this hurts. Try just one. Which one of these 5 do you think is gonna help you the most? And if it's not even these 5, if you're like sitting there thinking, you know what I need to do? I need to go through that Managing Your Nerves Masterclass. It's 10 minutes. Then that's your call to action. What if anything that I have shared today is the next step for you? That's what you're going to do. Okay, so I'm seeing comments. This has been great. I'm going to practice. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Okay. I said this earlier, but I think it's a really good place. Oh, let me make sure I don't have any other questions that are coming in here. It's really delayed today, and I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to practice my live. I try to skip that, and then I'm too nervous, and then my brain has to think, that's exactly what it is. This is exactly what it is. We're in a hurry. And the fact of being in a hurry creates this situation where we're stressed out over it. Okay? It's almost like you got to make time to do the practice. The best advice that I can give you, because a number of you are saying practice is where you're going to go next, which I love. The best advice that I can give you is this. If you're going to set a specific date and go live, so you're going to go live Thursdays at 2, okay? Get in a cadence with that. Every Thursday at 2 is when I go live in my group. Okay, so if I'm going to go live Thursday at 2, then when do I start planning for that live? Maybe it's on Monday. Put time on your calendar. Make sure on Monday you're starting to plan for that live. What am I going to practice? I'm going to practice on Tuesday, maybe again on Wednesday, maybe Thursday morning, because I'm not going live until 2. But let's get real here. If it's only a 5-minute video, so just practice those 5 minutes. Okay, that would be my advice for those of you that are practicing. Okay. Let me just say this. I recognize how frustrating this situation is, because I have been in it myself many times. And I can tell you, when I find myself in that situation where I get off of a live, or I get done doing a video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was wrong? What was going on with my brain? Why was that was horrible, or whatever feeling I'm having. And yes, it happens to me. If I stop and I just say, okay, stop beating yourself up, stop complaining, and instead look at what you can learn from this. If I go through this checklist, plan, memorize, breathe, practice, stop thinking, chances are I can figure out what I didn't do. What did I skip? Well, let's see. Let's get real about it. I was in a hurry, and so I didn't practice this morning. And then because I was going from one call to the next call, I didn't take time to breathe before I hit the button. And then I could go, see, I know why this happened. So how do I make sure that doesn't happen going forward? So for example, when I look at my calendar, if I go live, I got the 30 minutes prior to that live blocked on my calendar. It's not blocked because I need to do other stuff. It's blocked so that I can mentally prepare for the live, not practice. That's too soon. But make sure that I get everything set up. Make sure that I've got my lighting right and my microphone up and my notes up and everything ready to go, so that when it's right before my go live, I can just focus on getting my mindset right, calming myself down, and being in this awesome place before I go live. You can get there too. And I want to just let you know that the best thing that you can do in terms of how do I get more comfortable and less nervous, you're already doing it. You're here. You're in the right place. You're in this Facebook group. Some of you are in the Go Live League. You are learning the things that you need to learn in order to build competence. Now you just need to practice the things you are learning, implement, apply them, make them your own. And before you know it, you're going to be super confident. And that scary bear, It's no longer calling your name. It's no longer making you scared. You're like, I got this, and I know I got this. I believe in you because it was me and I've done this. So if I can do it, you can do it. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.